Hi, and welcome to this Business Solutions podcast and video interview. I'm Jim Roddy, the president of Jameson Publishing and Business Solutions Magazine. Thank you for joining us today. As always, we're here to provide actionable information to VARs on how they can sell more products, penetrate thriving vertical markets, and improve their business operations. We're coming to you today from the Synnex Spring Training Sales Conference being held at Skydome in Toronto. And today we're talking with Peter Lougas. He's a channel account manager for OKI Printing Solutions. OKI offers end-to-end printing solutions ranging from color laser to MFPs to mono laser, dot matrix, plus POS and label printing solutions. Peter, thanks for your time today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. I have a few questions for you. I want to start off first with the backdrop of the economy. It's very difficult, but our VAR readers are looking for new growth opportunities. What do you think are some vertical markets that show some promise even in this tough economy?
That's a great question, and we see that a lot of times happen. One of the big areas we see is in the retail and healthcare markets. They seem to be always an area where there's growth. And on top of that, we see manufacturing coming up real close behind those two vertical markets.
Mm-hmm. And so talk a little bit about healthcare, if you could. That seems to be a common theme here. What are some of the things, a barrier that somebody would need in order to get into that healthcare market?
Sure. One of the things with healthcare is it's very relationship based, and one really needs to know the relationships much more beyond just IT itself. We're talking middle management, we're talking end users, understanding what the pain within the organization is. There's a lot of issues around HIPAA compliancy and patient record confidentiality. These are all areas where OKI is becoming front and center with the ability to address those concerns with the product portfolios and software solutions that we currently have today.
And so you talk about those relationships. What does a reseller have to do to start forging some of those relationships in healthcare community? What steps can they take if they don't have relationships right now?
The great starting point is to leverage the existing relationships that you already have, and by doing that, opens up the opportunity to talk to other people with it. Mm-hmm. Often we restrict ourselves talking to just one or two individuals, not realizing that so many people make a decision mm-hmm. On the overall grand scheme of things in recommending it, whether it's a technology solution or others. So many people are involved, and we often forget to ask who those people are.
Yeah.
By doing that, you're broadening your horizons and creating that opportunity for you.
How about if somebody, you talked about retail and manufacturing as well, what if somebody's in one of those markets right now? What education, how would somebody go and get educated? I'm sure there are some things that OKI provides or things that other vendors and distributors provide. What does somebody have to do to get some fundamental education?
Right, and that's a great question, and we get that all the time. We get that request of, how do we sell this stuff? How do we position our products? How do we bring it to market? We need ideas, and what OKI Data Americas is doing, or OKI Printing Solutions is doing now, is actually developing how to sell guides into vertical markets such as healthcare, retail, and manufacturing, where it utilizes the buzzwords in that industry. It utilizes various aspects of those operations. And teaches you how to enter that market and position the products accordingly, and sound almost intelligent doing it.
Yeah. And if I can just jump in here 1 second, one of the trends that we've seen during this conference is that resellers and vendors and distributors offer so many different tools that a lot of resellers aren't even aware of. So it just behooves you to make that extra phone call, talk about that, because you wouldn't know that OKI or someone else might have a how to sell guide and things of that nature. You don't have to do all the work on your own, and of course our magazine offers, we cover these vertical markets as well, so you can look there is that information out there. So, and if somebody does that information and says, wow, I want to get into that market, I just can't afford it, and that's a very common thing nowadays. So can you talk a little bit about financing?
Sure.
How can a VAR finance?
And again, it's a question that we see pop up all the time, where everybody wants to make their money go further, mm-hmm. To acquire more technology. We hear it all the time. Healthcare budgets are shrinking all the time. We want to make sure that money goes further. So creative financing is put in place. And I'll take this two ways, because in Canada it's a little bit different, where we have a lot of our distribution partners up here in Canada, i.e. Synnex for that example, where they offer financing to our value-added partners mm-hmm. to be able to put turnkey solutions and offer the financing options available to the end-user customer. In conjunction with that, we're also seeing our VARs up here in Canada also have strategic relationships with their leasing arms as well. In the United States, we're taking it one step further, where OKI has got a strategic relationship with a leasing company, and it is continually offering creative and innovative ways to provide that financing to our value-added partners in the States. And it is something that we are looking at bringing north of the border if it makes financial sense.
Got it. And so there are a lot of banks who are, shaky or nervous about loaning money, but you're saying with these other programs, there is leasing available, and so VARs can finance getting these new markets.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And so last question for you. Want to ask, what are some of your more successful VARs doing in 2009? Another theme at this conference is Synnex released their first quarter financials. They're growing. We've talked about with a lot of folks in this market, it's levels of despair. But there hasn't been despair at this conference. There's been an upbeat approach. So what are some of your VARs who are upbeat in their financials or better doing in 2009?
You couldn't position any better because these sales conferences are all about enthusiasm, creating a positive atmosphere, and we as vendors would like to do the same. But as a successful VAR in this industry, and it comes back to my previous statement, being innovative and differentiated in your offerings. Start thinking outside the box. Okay, really get creative. Go on the edge. Take that risk.
Yeah.
And that part is truly important. But we're seeing the more successful VARs are the ones that are more aggressive. In the past, a lot of business has come to the VAR. However, in this day and age, the more aggressive the VAR is, and the more they want that business, or how quickly they're willing to establish and forge that relationship, are the ones that are willing to get the business.
Yeah, and how many times have you heard, what's your most successful marketing plan? Word of mouth. Well, that's relying on somebody else to do the work for you, but word of mouth is good enough now. You need to do some of those more aggressive activities.
Correct, and OKI is a 100% channel-friendly organization where we encourage and we work closely with our VARs and funnel our process and our products that way.
You talked about differentiation, and so what is a differentiator that a reseller can offer compared to somebody else? It's turnkey solutions. Is that a big one?
I agree. It's not just about a box anymore. In the past, it's very easy to put a piece of hardware into somebody. Yes, we can provide the support, but now if one can take the box, put the hardware, offer a what's in it for me solution, kind of a return on ROI, return on investment scenario. We often find that customers will make a decision quicker today than they will tomorrow because there's something in it for them.
Right.
So the more turnkey you can become, the more successful you're going to become in this.
Got it. The less time the implementation plan and the expense
Absolutely.
And all that.
They're willing to bring that project forward much quicker if there's something in it for them.
Got it. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully our discussion has given you some tidbits and actionable information that you can apply to your reseller business. Before we go, I want to say thanks again to Peter Lougas from OKI Printing Solutions for joining us today. Thank you, Peter.
Very much appreciate it.
And also want to say thank you to Synnex for inviting us to their Spring Training Sales Conference. BSM is the exclusive media outlet who's covering this event, and we've appreciated the opportunity to conduct some exclusive interviews like the one you just heard and watched. And thanks to you so much for listening to this podcast or watching this video interview. Our goal at Business Solutions is to provide growth strategies for the IT channel. For more information, please go to our website at www.bsminfo.com.